how do we cope with losing the identity that we have with an eating disorder? Now, I have to hands up say, this was not a question that I personally could relate to, because quite frankly, for me, I could not wait to be shot of the identity of being bulimic or the behaviors of binge eating or purging. However, I think the person who asked me this question might get value from the answers I'm going to provide you, with my understanding of that from a different perspective, and the identity I did have to get comfortable with losing fairly recently. So let's dive in. Hi, if you don't know me, my name's Helen Bennett. I'm the founder of BulimiaFreedom.com. Yes, I struggled with bulimia for 20 years. And yes, what I do now is I help people all over the world break free of the compulsive need to binge eat and purge as fast as possible. That's what this video is for. I'm not here to entertain you, although clearly I do enjoy entertaining, but I'm here to get you results, and that's what I want for you. So if you want to get those results, it's going to take action. And the first action I'm going to ask of you is to post in the comments below what action you're going to commit to taking as a result of listening to this video. And here's another action you might choose to take. If you need additional support, and there's no shame in asking for help, because Lord knows I got a ton of help along the way. And if you think I can help you, then go to BulimiaFreedom.com and you can check out the options that we offer, or you can just contact me directly. You can post in the comments below and I'll reply to you. But please ask for help. We too often think that we can do this alone, that we should be able to just think our way out of it. Bulimia is a lot tougher to break than that. So I'm going to encourage you to get my help or reach out to the person that you think can help you, because at the end of the day, that's the only thing we care about. All right, enjoy the video. I hope you get a ton of value from it. And here's to your freedom. She asks, could you talk about losing your eating disorder? Like feeling as if you're losing a huge part of your identity and life, that's big, when you stop binging and purging. I'm having a really hard time in early recovery because I don't know who I would be or what I'm going to do without it. If you're resonating with this question, let me dive in. We'll see where we go. I'm going to encourage you to comment on this if I'm completely off the mark. Or if you can help me clarify what that loss of identity feels like, so that I can help you even further. So let me start with telling you when I was resistant to losing a piece of my identity and how I've dealt with that. Last year, I struggled with a back injury. So I went from somebody who's, for as long as I can remember, been really fit. From very young age, I've always loved sport. And then obviously, as I went into full-blown bulimia, I was excessively exercising. However, I always really enjoyed exercise. Was I exercising sometimes because I just wanted to burn off what I'd eaten, or because I was trying to burn enough space so that I could eat a meal later? Yes, that's when that relationship became horribly distorted. When I was forcing myself through exercise that I could feel not only did I not want to do, but was actively bad for my body. And I was doing it anyway, purely to burn off calories or to make more space for calories, right? That was my thinking at the time. Nonetheless, I have done a ton of exercise in my life and I love it. In fact, I was even a CrossFit gym owner and I loved CrossFit. Did I push myself too hard? Yes. Was I still struggling with all the internal stuff? Yes. But I freaking loved CrossFit and I still do if I could do it. However, couple of years ago, injured my back. Don't even know how it sort of crept up on me, to the point where I was in a lot of pain every morning when I woke up, and I recognized that it was time to back off all of the sports and recalibrate this. Now, what happened was I went from being somebody who was always fit and toned to somebody who suddenly had, it felt like muscular atrophy. I felt like my muscles weren't doing anything. I was in so much pain, I couldn't do much without causing more pain. So I realized I had to back right off, which I was willing to do. But the discomfort of that was huge physically. Mentally, what was worse was I was so used to being somebody who was fit that I had to basically, this was the identity shift. The horror for me of having a lot of my enjoyment and self-worth and feeling of deserving and admiration tied up in my fitness. I was really confronted with that, and the losing of it felt awful. So physically, I was feeling awful. and frustrated and not strong and weak, and everything was loose and I wasn't used to that feeling physically. But what I hated was the mental, the requirement of me to let go of my identity, being as somebody who was always fit and strong. And I don't mean that just in an aesthetic dimension, but yes, I didn't like that I looked different and what other people might think about that. But I'm pretty good at busting that kind of, mental bullshit. It was the identity that I had of being strong and capable. And now suddenly I was a woman who was asking for help to lift things. Suddenly I'm a woman who couldn't do things that she was previously able to do. And that also attacked my sense of integrity and my identity in a way I didn't like. And it was very confronting. Where I am now, just to let you know, is I'm slowly rebuilding, extremely slowly. 20 minutes a day on a stationary bicycle, doing the bare minimum, low intensity, just slowly building strength, combined with some gentle kind of Kundalini yoga and some back exercises. It couldn't be more basic. I'm as far from fit as I've been, with the exception of last year where I wasn't even doing that because I was in so much pain. And I'm just slowly building it back. And I'm excited because my body's starting to feeling stronger again, though it's a far cry from where it was. But here's the thing. How do you adjust to that identity shift? That's such a tricky question. And it did feel like a loss and I didn't feel comfortable. But here's the thing. Most of our discomfort is actually mental. Most of it. Now, we can always do what we choose to do about the physical. If we're in actual physical discomfort, a body that has atrophied, a body that is too heavy for its own weight, in that things become a struggle, those kind of physical sensations, yes, we can do what we can to help our body guide us back to health, right? So my body was screaming at me, don't do any more movement, this is dangerous. And I had to listen to that. But as it was ready and we just moved gently into it, it's saying, okay, I can take a little more, we're getting more comfortable, but then I push too hard and it gives me a warning and I got to listen, right? So my job is to listen. And I believe our bodies are guiding us to their optimal health if we'll just listen. And I'm sure it was me being a complete idiot and over pushing a few years ago that caused the injury in the first place, and disregarding, because of my enjoyment of exercise, I was disregarding some clear signals that probably led to the back injury in the first place. So with that being said, I had to adjust, and I may have to maintain this adjustment of my identity being a fit and strong woman, because there's no guarantee my back's ever going to be ready to do a ton of weightlifting again. And that's okay. But here's the thing. It's mental. And so you can choose what you want your new identity to be, if you know you have to, or you're choosing to give up this other one that was detrimental to you. So if I'd carry on exercising, that would have been detrimental. And my job was to say, I can't be that for now. And so I'm choosing a new identity. And that's where you're going to have to sit down with a pen and paper. And specifically with Bulimia Recovery, where we're saying, I'm no longer this person that used to binge and purge and had this relationship with food. I'm choosing to be this other person because of all the XYZ reasons. And please flesh them out. It's really important to know why and what you want to, who you want to be and why you want to be that person. And there is a letting go and a grief kind of around the old identity no longer being us. But I think if we design the new identity to be an exciting, different version of us, then we're in the money seats. Because as long as we're thinking that we hate the loss, but we've got nothing that we're going towards, we're buggered. And my shift has actually brought with it a lot of surprises. And I'm really enjoying actually being in a body that's less ripped, less strong. I'm kind of enjoying watching what it's like to ask for help instead of loading myself up. And I think that will be valuable for me, because as I get older, I'm simply not going to be able to carry 25 kg bags up 5 flights of stairs as my body ages. So why not get used to it now? So it's really about the reframing we're doing. And also, it's okay that you don't feel comfortable. It's okay that you feel the grief and the loss of the old. We're not trying to say don't feel that or it's bad for feeling it. We're actually saying, if you're feeling that loss, it's time to sit with it and grieve it and say goodbye. There's a letting go that's required here. There's a moment of acceptance that we have to make about who we are no longer being. Rightly or wrongly, it doesn't matter. The fact is, there is a loss. There is a feeling of grief you're having around this. And I want you to just sit with it and be like, that sucks. And I'm allowed to be upset. And I'm ready to let it go. But I need to be able to feel the grief. And this is really important, because this is bulimia recovery, I would actively spend time fleshing out, maybe go 1 year from now. I want you to flesh out in your mind's eye the woman you are becoming as you let go of this other identity. Now, that woman, this is what I designed for me, and this is what's helped me and continues to help me to this day. And you'll hear me repeat it in all my videos, because I'm actively reinforcing and repeating who I want to become and who I have become and will continue to grow into. And that is a woman who loves herself, who accepts her body 100%, who has a great relationship with food, has a wonderful relationship with exercise, and who knows how to rest when her body's asking for it. And that's a work in progress, but from where I was to where I am now, huge changes. Is there still some work? Yes, but I think with all self-development, it's like an exponential curve where you don't see much change and then you just start getting loads of shifts and moves. But then the further you get up, towards your goal, the harder it is to get there, because there's still little tweaks and changes, but they require kind of more work. So the short story, the short of that long story is, if you're feeling the loss, allow yourself to grieve it. And most importantly, cultivate with pen and paper and time and energy a vision of where you are moving, and make that new identity very compelling. And if it's not compelling, you need to sit down there until it is, because why on earth would we choose to do the work to move towards something that we internally don't want? So you design the future you that you can't wait to be, so that every time you're feeling this sense of loss, you can say, I've lost that, and I am also so excited about working towards this. And you get to choose what that is. You get to choose who that woman is in the future. If you want yourself in the future to be always restricting, calorie counting, obsessed, always staying safe around foods, portion control, and that feels good for you, do that. Knock yourself out. I say, it sounds facetious. I'm really not being like, some people want to be that person, and that's cool. I personally was so ready to say enough of that. I couldn't wait to be somebody who could just have a really relaxed, enjoyable relationship with food. Does that mean that I'm not going to ever be in a model body? Yes, because in order for me personally to have a great relationship with food, what I've learned is it requires being at this weight, which means I'm never going to be a size whatever, I don't know, size 08, whatever the hell it is. Like, that's just not going to be me. And I'm learning to say, that's okay, because I prefer this to that place of obsession and compulsion and chaos and lack of connection and always feeling not enough and always feeling like I had to be thinner. I was so exhausted by that. I couldn't wait to say goodbye to her. And that has had some challenges, but generally I just wanted to be shot of her, and I wanted to create this new vision for myself. So you may not be there. You may still be enjoying some things about the disordered behavior or the lifestyle. And if you can get clear on what it is that you feel like you're letting go of, that I think would be very helpful. And then you can reframe what that's going to look like in the future in the way that's very, very compelling. Please, if you're sitting with this and this video has not helped you at all, and you're still feeling grief or loss around this part of your identity, please help me in the comments by explaining so that I can understand precisely what the identity loss is for you. And I will probably be able to shoot a better video that will be more helpful in that regard. All right, lovely. Thank you very much. I hope that was valuable. Adios.